Welcome back, everybody. If you missed the game, you missed Rakan and Katarina with the Kai'Sa follow-up. If it sounds weird and new to you, it sounds weird and new to us as well. So I suppose DWG Gaming looking to make a statement as they potentially make it into LCK by saying, hey, we've got new comps that we can play and destroy our enemies with as well.
It was new to the crowd, it was new to us, and you know, you can kind of tell it was new to the team of BattleComics as well. It didn't seem fully prepped for this. I don't know how many people are prepped for the Rakan Katarina dives in the mid game, but it caught out the duo lane. And more often than not, felt like BattleComics was caught out. This is my favorite moment, actually from the Urgot, flashing in for the AoE fear. Katarina did most of the rest. And while Dove had some really nice moments onto the Azir, wasn't enough to get them over the line. Felt like Hollow wasn't able to have a carry performance compared to the other three. 2 is greater than 1, and that means that at 2-1, there's a real chance DWG Gaming can close the series with a victory in this game number 4.
Dove looked good, Showmaker looked better, but who looked the best? It was actually Nuclear, who essentially carried by himself, was the crux of this combination, this pick bam from the side of DAMWON. I love Hoyt's play too, from the get-go. When I first saw this guy on Alistar, I said, this guy is going to be a star, and well, we're seeing it on his Rakan multiple times in a row now. Haven't got to see his Alistar. Would love to finish off the night with some Alistar play, but that might just be me being greedy.
All about the Hoyt, huh? Well, he had a game-winning moment in this one, so I think he's already doing you proud, Valdez. The Nexus goes down. Let's see if we even see a side selection, any substitutions when it comes to Game 4. 3 games so far of BattleComics Blue, DWG Gaming Red. Bigger numbers on the right side than the left side when it comes to the 2 carries, and we had to know that those 4, the mid laners and AD carries, would take it over. Camille tried, but eventually got just repelled in a way where she could never pop off in the mid to late game. Even though we had killer minute stuff, we had ended up overall with 41 kills at 34, so we'll take that +7, not the LCK way. Gold graph goes up and down, but never actually dipped over 5,000 gold throughout the entire this game, which meant that every team fight you were waiting with bated breath to see which of Katarina, Kai'Sa, and the Azir would pop off hardest.
Was a really fun, action-packed game. Not like spring of 2018 that had, 4 or 5 kills at 40 minutes, and we're saying, well, we've gone over win conditions and everything. You guys want to talk about Pokemon or what? Because not much action. This is DWG Gaming and BattleComics bringing in a new era, if you will, of action back into League of Legends in Korea, and I, for one, am not complaining. So let's jump into pick and ban for game number 2, and you might notice, guys, that finally the 2 teams have swapped sides.
So we will not see DWG Gaming holding all the cards when it comes to counter picks in the second round. However, I feel like DWG Gaming have started to get the advantage this series, just moving away from all the prep that BattleComics could have done, and throwing in some general disarray, because adding these picks like Katarina Rakan as a duo and Kai'Sa Rakan and things like that seem to have thrown off BattleComics' rhythm. I think BattleComics just want this to be a square, a front-to-back team fight game that's all about the team fights rather than the craziness that DWG Gaming have turned on.
DWG definitely seeming like a better mechanically skilled team, although, again, we haven't seen too many games of them going head-to-head and of DWG Gaming. Would love to see in 2019 how both of these teams do, but I feel like that's looking too far into the future. Olaf going to be banned out, but you'll notice also the Kai'Sa ban here by BattleComics. They don't want to deal with that same threat from Nuclear that they had to deal with in Game 3.
Aatrox the final ban, so there's been quite a lot of bans changing. Even though we had 3 games in a row, we never had the same bans in the first round. It continues to have that wheel turning. Enough DWG are going to return to something like the Camille priority. Tahm Kench has been one they've loved. With the Xayah and Rakan up, will they finally open with the Rakan rather than the Xayah on blue side? Seems like that will happen, as DWG Gaming are the ones that want to make this a Xayah Rakan series.
It's interesting. It doesn't necessarily mean that they take away the Xayah here. I suppose they could and try to force some weird bottom lanes. Looks like they are going to consider that. Hollow, definitely one of his most played, is the Xayah, and you don't necessarily want to give that combo away.
It felt like Xayah Rakan and Arise or Aatrox basically every time BattleComics played when they were playing in those Challenger promotion matches. So at the end of the day, I guess we shouldn't be surprised. They also first pick Xayah over Rakan when they're on blue side. So they clearly are a Xayah team, just like SKT were for the longest time. Rakan was FLICKR was a Rakan team. All about using those pieces of the puzzle to their maximum. And will we see the Morgana as the answer to Rakan? Was Griffin trying to make that work earlier, but they dropped the idea and just go to Shen first round as, wow, the Korean casters are getting very animated about the Shen once again coming out from Joker.
It kind of looks like they're making fun of Sungkae, the host. Maybe he called how Morgana was such an awesome pick, and then they just switch it up. And speaking of which, they banned it out in Game 3, did BattleComics. But now they couldn't ban it out here on the red side. It might be the return to just the knockup party and the aggressive 80, not carries, but champions here on the side of DAMWON Gaming.
But this duo lane actually has an even harder time against the duo that BattleComics have. We'll talk about that as we get into game. But if it does end up being Yasuo Rakan versus the Xayah and the Shen W really stuffs up a lot of what Xayah wants to do. If it's on point, Poppy going to be the answer into Jace. Was banned away in the last Jace game. This will most likely be a Poppy top. Can go Sunfire Cape, gets too tanky, and then almost always is in range of the heroic charge because of Jace's ranged auto attack, and thus jungler comes, she has lots of gank assists, and goodbye Jace. Most likely going to be the top lane matchup, but around the world we've seen a little bit of Poppy jungle as well.
It's an option, you know, you keep that in the back of your mind. Doesn't really seem like an on-fleek pick, but again, just an option as we do go in.
Does seem like a Sora pick. He is the tank top laner. It's a big pick over in the EU LCS. Of course, is people like Chachi and friends enjoying that top lane Poppy. So the Toppy will come out here. What about the bans here to close things out? We're expecting Jace top and also the Yasuo to be in the marksman role, but not 100% guaranteed. And if we do see a Rise lock-in, a big favorite of Dove in the mid lane, Rookie loves to take the Jace into the Rise in the mid lanes. There could still be some mix-ups on the side of DAMWON Gaming.
We'll see if they pick the jungle here first.
Hey!
And on fleek.
Finally!
Looks like he'll be going into his jungle Jax. We finally get to see it here when they're on their last legs up against DAMWON Gaming with nowhere left to turn. The Olaf and the Camille band, they'll go with the Jax.
And now Counter-Strike value is super high because it's Yasuo Jace, so you get a lot of value out of dodging auto attacks already with the two champion side of DAMWON, and it is the trademark pick of onfleek. He will not be eliminated from the winner's bracket or his chance to win today without playing that Jax. Blind pick mid lane, Rookie style, gonna be the Syndra here. Loves it into basically every matchup. I see him win the Yasuo matchups, and he's just a god, as we know. But no jungler is selected yet by DAMWON. This is gonna be another everyone's a carry solo rank special if they do go for the Kha'Zix. But they dropped the Kha'Zix. Just a lot of weird matchups with Jungle Jax because he is such an interesting champion from the jungle. And they end up going with an early game jungler, but not one we've seen as much, the Skarner.
Well, when you have this amount of burst damage with Yasuo, Jace, and Syndra, plus a knockup, it's definitely an option to just find one person and blow them up and go from there. And what counters that directly could be the Galio here, straight into the mid lane. They're going to change it up, though, into the Azir.
That would have been a pick that really allowed onfleek to play aggressively because Galio will always rotate first. In the end, they go Azir into Syndra. This is a matchup that Syndra has kill pressure around 6, but Azir can also get the really good trades in with the Sand Soldiers if Syndra ever misplays. So usually a health lead for Azir, but the potential all-in with the suppression ultimate into the Syndra can be very, very strong. The cleanse not going to be enough against those duo of threats. My eyes are going to be trained upon what's just not really LCK picks, the Jungle Jax and the top Poppy. Picks we see around the world, but onfleek is that big Jungle Jax player, Cinderhulk into Trinity Force. Marung was the first, Beyond, who's also in this tournament. Yondu likes it as well. But onfleek, this is very much his spirit animal. Will the champ be able to get in there and force a game 5, or are we going to be done and just have DAMWON Gaming joining the LCK 8 after this match?
Take a look at the triple cleanse. Well, you're not going to be able to take a look now, but 3 cleanses on the side of DAMWON Gaming. Showmaker, Nuclear, and Hoyt saying we don't want to be locked down by the Jax, the Poppy, the Shen, even the Xayah. Can get in there with the stun. definitely will open up some options for them to do damage. I like the Skarner. I really like that idea where there's a lot of, you know, individually tanky and annoying to kill members. The Poppy, the Jax, and the Shen definitely kind of lined that up, but you pull the Shen away out of a circle, he dies. You get Jax out of there when he doesn't have Counter-Strike, he'll die immediately as well.
Team of DAMWON can kill the closest target, and that's what Skarner's going to do. Bring the closest target straight to them.
Definitely seems to be the idea. We'll see if they can close it out or if BattleComics can tie it up here going into game number 4.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
They're working on it, you know, at least they're doing it now. The fan cheers finally coming into effect for our two teams. One of these guys, one of these teams are going to make it into LCK, which already should be exciting for some of you guys who are looking for a change in LCK.
I'm ready for some new styles. Game 3 was a really fun one for me, where we saw this really different type of action to what we usually see in the LCK, and if they can bring that, they can herald the aggressive era of the early game. At least sometimes that would be a welcome movement. Seeing the Spires, of course, be contested in the early game.
Exact same runes for both mid laners, actually. Every single one.
Makes sense. Time Warp Tonic for both of them. Probably going to have to be Corrupting Potion for both, and Spy that one with My Little Eyes. Press the attack coming through from OnFleek. Again, if it's the same as what we see from him usually. Cinderhulk, Trinity Force. Malrung was the full tank Jax back in the day. Jax, a pick that when it works really well. The thing people always forget with the Jax is just how long his engage range and burst damage is with press the attack and level 3, because he can go for that ward hop onto with his Q into a flash counter strike to have just crazy engage range, as if he's basically a Camille.
Early game Syndra is really funny, especially with Arcane Comet. It's like you're going fishing, right? Especially if the enemy mid laner is not the strongest. You just sit there and you try to land Qs over and over and over again. Showmaker, you know, it's early on in the game, but he's already making a bit of a show as he landed 3 in a row onto Dove and forced him to use at least one of his potion stacks. Of course, with Time Warp Tonic, it's going to take a while before we have much kill pressure. Jax
actually going to be spotted on the bot side. I thought he might go big buff into Gromp into Scuttle for single target only with the machete to use his passive to clear the fastest, but wants to get at least a single Scuttle. He'll get that. Won't be in position for a super early level 3 gank. I guess that's one of the small reasons that something like Camille has been preferred to Jax in summer is it's harder to get level 3, and he needs to be level 3 to really have the ganking presence, whereas Camille just needs 2 levels to have plenty of gank presence.
Love the little trading we see in the mid lane. Dove not, you know, stepping back, stepping down against Showmaker and saying, okay, if you want to go for the trading battle, I'll go ahead and get in there as the Azir on fleek now. He's done this before with his aggressive jungling, is looking for a Skarner, and Skarner's actually going to find him as well on fleek. He's going to say, okay, let's go into it. You can see that burst damage you were talking about. Joker actually gets the first roam from the bottom side as well. Already a lot of action in game number 4.
Mid laners have dropped out, but it's going to be 3v3 action here if any more join.
Hoyt able to get the Q and the heal actually over to Punch, which is really nice.
Punch is just happy for it to reset though, because then it's back to full health and BattleComics wasting a lot of time. The minion wave is now hitting the turret, so Yasuo has to drop. OnFleek going to take over the Spire. Cooldowns are back up on OnFleek. Can definitely skirmish well, and BattleComics are heavily investing into this.
Punch just wants his red buff, but it doesn't look like he'll be able to get it here. Trying to go on a Punch. There's the taunt into the stun, and it might be First Blood. The smite comes in, and it doesn't matter. First Blood goes over to the Xayah as OnFleek able to secure that red buff, and now the Skarner gonna get way far behind.
2 flashes, but the kills come in. It's very risky to try to skirmish a Jax with press the attack early. The moment that Syndra was never coming, they should have backed away. They don't. Here comes OnFleek. He has a ward up, so he has very big engage range available. Syndra thinks better of it, and she'll just duck out of lane.
Yeah, OnFleek also still had his flash available, so was just waiting for the opportunity here.
Really nicely done by Joker, whose Shen has definitely impressed us a lot more. Double taunt. Notice they actually hold on to the counter-strike to not overlap CC. Great understanding of Jax shown by OnFleek, as we would expect. This guy is certainly a Jax main at heart. They back away with another advantage. Nice feeling after 2 games where largely BattleComics have been dictated to outside of some promising moments for the Camille in game number 3.
Definitely feeling pretty good for them so far. And yeah, I mean, Joker, you were talking about his Shen, the Tom Kench. I feel like that ultra aggressive play may have worked against some of the lower level teams, which explains why he gets so many wins on the pick in Challenger. But once they go up against even DAMWON Gaming or even MVP and BBQ that they were playing before, doesn't really look as impressive as his Shen, which has been the shining light for his support play.
And this is the god standard for the Shen Xayah lane compared to a Yasuo lane, as Showmaker and Punch steal away the enemy Raptors. If you can freeze it out of turret range, you can't surf in. Is Yasuo afraid of being turret aggroed? And Shen, if he ever sees you walk up, taunts in, puts down the W. And in some matchup, the W kind of sucks, right? You don't get any value out of the Spirit's Refuge. But in this matchup against a melee carry and a Xayah and a Rakan, you basically have full run of the lane with the right Spirit's Refuge. So you can get a lot of advantages here. You can get this freeze as well, as Hollow's waiting for an item, and he's going to teleport in.
Joker gets pretty low, but in the end of the day, it's definitely worth it.
Freeze is on, baby.
Keep it right in that sweet spot you were talking about.
That means Nuclear has to stay against BF Sword Xayah. Very, very frustrating for him. Joker uses all health bars. He's not here to taunt in and actually get a kill. That allows Nuclear to push in, but it's all about lane positioning for this Yasuo, especially because he's not a marksman. He can't just play with the same style that all these ranged 80 carries are used to.
Hollow, look at this. I mean, he wants the freeze so badly. Yep. He's just going to tank this up, and this time around, Nuclear and Hoyt absolutely cannot stay. Fortunate that it's not a cannon wave also pushing in. That could have pushed it back.
Yeah, if it's a cannon wave, like you say, that's the one way that play doesn't work, but 3 minions is enough to aggro onto the first. No cannon to tank it down. Therefore, wave stays in a good spot. So fun to have these little micro points to talk about in the laning phase. Usually it's just ranged 80 carries doing their thing. We don't even really see aggressive freezes from supports anymore, especially Key, who is famous for dying freezing waves many, many times. General things have been just about 50-50, but not 50-50 for BattleComics in the early game. However, could have said same thing about the early points of some of the more recent games, and they haven't turned into victories for BattleComics.
Don't get to see much of this top lane with the Jace just dominating the Poppy. Still Poppy waiting on more items to make this lane a little bit easier for now. Just being bullied against the Jace, that's what you can fully expect.
In the early game, Sunfire Cape, Ninja Tabi is where this lane starts to churn. Even Balmy Cinder Ninja Tabi. They're able to take some stronger Q trades. Taunt comes in, but that's a very high value win wall.
Basically perfect. Hollow just going to ignore the engage entirely and push the wave. A lot of movement from Dove on the map. I thought he was thinking about going to the top side, but never really found an opportunity. And now they're going for the Ocean Drink. He'll want to push the wave to give them some space.
Jax can walk up, has an auto attack reset and his jungle item, so very easy to pick up. Ocean will feel great for the laning phase. Poppy says, thank you very much. Need some time to get through to my Sunfire Cape. Ninja Tabi done there. Yeah, like you say, everything falling into place. BattleComics extended engage, the only real flare point in the early game. From 41 and 34, it's not a big prediction, but we're slowing down this time.
Like it for sure. Punch, he's trying to get that Predator going. Just barely doesn't have it, though. He's so close, looking for that stun. Finally gets in range of the Impale, and that is going to be the kill onto Joker. Handed over to Nuclear. Very nicely set up by the side of DAMWON.
Even better than you might first assume, because look at all the almost flashes on both sides. Joker's was not up, is only now up. So the timing there was very minute, but perfectly done by Punch and the team for calling into bot side. Any advantage you can get around Yasuo and Rakan. Advantages you can take to the bank in the mid game. So they back away with just a single kill, but no objective, no Drake to pick up after the fact.
It's going to buy a little bit of space on the bottom side for the Yasuo to go back, buy some items at least, which is quite nice, as that lane is not the easiest. The rest of the lanes have been going pretty much as expected. The Syndra versus Dove just haven't really clashed, as no jungle interaction has come in. And the top lane, that Poppy slowly getting used to it. You mentioned the Ocean Drake is going to be really fantastic for her.
Scales with levels into this matchup really, really well because Q becomes an actual poke tool rather than something she has to use for wave clear. Gonna walk off and just consistently get off the ranged harass with the passive and the grass proc at the same time. Scaling matchup for the Poppy, but one item and boots all she needs. So things get better there. Turret unlikely to go down without some help, which we're not seeing topside. Skarner has been playing mostly around his red side jungle. And speaking of junglers, OnFleek walks up, Cinderhulk is done, and he wants some kills to get that Trinity Force earlier than 30 minutes.
Well, they got some vision here onto Punch, who does have the red buff, but OnFleek just trying to dissuade him from taking that Gromp for now. Also in position to take the Scuttle Crab after they just secured all the vision. So OnFleek looking to get the lead here in Skulls, which he did just do.
The trades here topside, but Skarner is lingering. Gonna take a while to burst through the Poppy, and the Poppycopter ultimate can also disengage one of them, but they're probably gonna try. Suppression available.
Predator this time as well with the flash, but still no vision of the Skarner, who
Pops the Predator.
Okay. Gets really fast into the river, I suppose.
He's spotted on a control ward. I'm not sure if he actually saw it. It was speeding around the air. There's a blue ping, so they did see it. Farming it out mid lane. Haven't seen Syndra use an ultimate just yet.
This definitely feels good for BattleComics, not just talking about compositions or anything, but the fact that the last two games were just DAMWON going ultra aggressive and beating your face in, and now they are finally able to slow the game down. That just feels really good for BattleComics and their style.
And there's other little things. The turret health in the corner there, it's actually about 75-80%, so Jace hasn't done any work on that, and that's before Sora gets his first item. With gank assist, Jax could potentially take down the Jace any time. See how much damage is frustratingly annoyed by the steadfast presence there as the To the Skies is interrupted by that W. Things going just fine from the side of BattleComics. Stop and scaling-wise, it is a tricky one to talk about. I think mid-game, a lot of power to Syndra Yasuo, but late-game, Azir and Zaya's range should probably overtake the game. Moment that the Poppy actually starts forcing Jace out of lane is probably when things go really great for the side of BattleComics, but then if DAMWON find the right picks, they can rewrite that script as well.
Bottom lane Nuclear, with the help of his jungle, gets the kill, but also keeps a very competitive CS disadvantage. It's only about 6 CS behind, which is very nice for a lane like this. Got that Rakan. We'll see when they start to get aggressive. I think if the Drake was something like a Mountain or an Infernal, we could definitely see some other fights down there. But DAMWON might just be okay to say, well, you already have one Ocean, you know, take the second, we don't have to force it. And we'll see how that fight does happen, if it even does.
Big issue with that is you really lose out a lot when you give up 2 Ocean Drakes to the lanes that BattleComics have. All 3 lanes get a lot of value from that. This is nicely done by OnFleek. He popped over the wall. Hasn't been spotted despite the fact there's control ward here. Punch walks up. He should notice the Rift Herald's out of position. Doesn't see it just yet.
That was close.
Yeah.
There's a ping, but it's a red one. He has no idea. Punch is like, wait,
he's tilted right now.
And this is the moment when he was tilted.
I wish we had the booth vision there. The camera's on for the Punch to be like, really? Really he did that? That was actually really nicely done. Coming through from OnFleek. Always pop over onto a ward, but is spotted. Looking for a gank topside.
Just spectacular timing. Gets in there right before the Scuttle Crab spawns, so he can burst it down before Punch would have any interest in going to that area of the map. They already have vision over there, but there was nothing to see the Rift Herald specifically, so it's a really nice play. Credit to OnFleek, trying his best to get BattleComics straight into the LCK.
Showmaker happily going to steal away a blue boss. They're still trading some micro objectives at DAMWON. They really don't want to give up this Ocean Drake to really guarantee the laning phase for BattleComics. Sora on the top side getting more and more steadfast as Joker knows all about this, but what really can they do with Azir in base? The answer is not much.
Syndra goes back too, but the Ocean Drake is taken. Third Drake is going to be Infernal. Going to be really nice for both of these teams, actually, when you consider it. Yasuo, Syndra, Jace say yes, please, and so do Xayah, Azir, and Jax.
We have tower to use because of the back timing. So Azir being out of position gave up a Drake, but they're going to lose basically this entire turret.
And the majority of the health, but they're not going to overstay as Syndra going to say no to him, push him away. Or her, I should say. And isn't able to take the turret, but a nice little chunk already for On Fleek and his Rift Herald play.
Poppy has plenty of health, but doesn't want to stick in the top side with no vision. Goes back to have everything except the recipe of the Sunfire Cape. Had cribbed together a Glacial Shroud just for more items, for more trading ability in lane. To slow down that Sunfire Cape, but we're definitely close to this being a very happy lane for Poppy. The only person I've ever seen win the Jace versus Poppy matchup in lane was Smeb, actually. I think it was Kesper Cup, where he went for the Lord Dominic's and Black Cleaver build. It might have been a Blade of the Ruin King rolled in there. I think this is going to be... Nuguri's done this build basically every game. I'm interested to watch how this goes when it comes to the 2-item Jace versus 2-tank armor item Poppy, because I imagine it's going to be pretty competitive with everything invested into that. Speaking of competition, Punch seems like Onfleek got away with his lunch money, stealing away the Scuttle.
He's been so quick on the map, and I feel like he has just been much better about farming and taking objectives compared to Punch in this best of 5. On Fleek overall has won the jungle. They still need to win games as a team, though, as they are down 1 here. You can see that On Fleek hasn't necessarily invaded all too much outside of that early play at level 3 at the red buff, but after that, it was just all about getting ahead, taking objectives ahead of Punch, and winning that matchup.
Farm was the way for On Fleek, and really for BattleComics in general in this particular game. No Camille, no problem. Interesting that On Fleek can be a man who can do both, the hard ganking and the hard farming in this series. Another good audition for him, you'd have to say.
Yeah, the Ambition and Haru combo. It's what I think about when I see it, although he doesn't play much Sejuani, Trundle, and Skarner.
He has played the Sejuani this tournament, but I definitely take what you're saying. Has asserted himself well, but will it be enough to actually have BattleComics either close this series or close it up with a 5th game? Because right now, DAMWON still are in that match point situation. Punch has everything up, hasn't used his Predator early. Not the easiest gank to make happen, though, because Joker has no incentive to walk up.
Question mark in the bush. Seems like they have an idea, but he gets the Xayah actually in the backside, but the Featherstorm does come out. Still going to get that impale on the backside after the flash comes in, and unfortunately, Hollow doesn't flash away from that one. I think he could have closed the distance away from those guys, but unfortunately will lose his life.
Big pickup mid lane, solo first brick, first turret gold comes through for Dove, but they're going to lose an answering turret bot side. On Fleek, well, he might get a Gromp, but that's all we're talking about. And Naguri says, hey, what about a fight?
Yeah, I mean, how about a Jace as well? As I don't think that Jace can win this fight with the red buff Jax, and now you got a Shen on your backside. Noguri looks like he's going to make another mistake. Very unfortunate for him. Now they're looking for Showmaker on the backside. Dove is going deep in here. Knows he has the protection of his team. In the end, he does get away, but a nice little run of play there to BattleComics.
Gotta say, On Fleek knows his Jax. Was not interested in the enemy Jace. Was a level behind, but you couldn't tell it. Only had a Sheen and a Cinderhulk, but still wins it. Not the best Jace decision-making there. Moment he used it to the Sky's Q, he had no ability to change that play. They take away the blue. They won't get any more, though. The turret won't go down. Although Punch doesn't have ultimates, not really sure what they can make happen.
They're trying to extend this fight in the long lane as the Syndra was making his way up, as well as Nuclear. Helicopter comes in just for fun, says Soar. So nobody's knocked up in the end. Interesting build here from Noguri as well, building the Last Whisper straight after the Black Cleaver. This isn't even a normal type of build, but it's, I suppose, pretty good into the armor stacking Poppy.
Yeah, I was mentioning that Smeb used to like builds similar to this with different power levels, things like Last Whisper. Doesn't give you much when On Fleek walks up. I believe Smeb's choice was Blade into the Last Whisper and Lord Dominic's regard. Black Cleaver into more armor penetration will make you, for sure, do relevant damage, but doesn't boss it around as hard, because actually Poppy does very decent trade damage, so you find yourself at half health and then ganked by somebody coming out with the Poppy gank assist, so this might have to be 3 items to truly have threat onto Soar.
We got Infernal Drake spawning in 45 seconds. Which team is going to be better about preparing this objective? So far, seems like the vision advantage goes to the side of DAMWON, as there's only 1 ward in the bush, but DAMWON have a ward in there as well. Nobody now being pushed out of the top lane, as so many members of BattleComics grouping up here. They really want the turret in the top side, it seems.
Willing to leave everyone except Poppy bot side. Here's the ult.
Okay, well, they're trying to just burst down on Fleek. There's the knockup from the Rakan, and the Yasuo does follow up. Joker also getting in there, trying to save the Jax. That's 2 members baited in for 2 extra kills.
A mistake coming through from OnFlake. He thought with his Counter-Strike he'd be able to turn that, but never even got to use the Counter-Strike. Was dead because of the CC layering on the enemy team. Soar didn't have TP, and now Dove and Soar in trouble.
Really fantastic timing there on the stun. Soar just a helicopter to knock Punch away, actually, who was considering going in there, doesn't have Impale, but after those 2 kills, DAMWON are going to get a massive landslide in terms of momentum to get the top turret as well as an Infernal Drake. Really nice plays from them.
Really big shift in where the game is at as well, because they get everything in this one, the kills, the objective, and the Drake as well. Items starting to come together. This might be IE coming through for Yasuo, who picked up the kill. It is. We're going to watch the replay. Again, it's a comp that Jax can feel so good about fighting against. However, just doesn't expect Punch to be there.
Yeah.
And consider the CC duration here onto OnFlake. He never actually gets to use Counter-Strike until he's at 100 health.
It's a little bit too late. You know, the control ward is there and didn't just expect that angle. So Punch, you know, we haven't been singing the praises of him, but actually just dupes the enemy team into getting 2 extra kills. That was 100% his play. So props to him. And the follow-up from DAMWON Gaming. You mentioned the IE. We talked about Fed Azirs, Fed Syndras. This time it's the Fed Yasuo of old Chovy and Yukal days and FLICKR. He's trying to make his own name nuclear on the bottom lane Yasuo now with the 2 big items to make him incredibly scary.
We talked about how this game could swing. Well, Azir's not at 3 items, the Zaya's not at 3 items, but the 2-item Power Spikes are where things really look good for DAMWON. They want to put down control wards around an objective and say, if you fight us the wrong time, you're just dead. Speaking of dead.
Joker, he's done it again, playing jokes on his team. I don't understand how many times this guy's going to get caught, as I'm even beginning to get a little bit frustrated.
You sound
as
tilted.
You guys can tell.
That's some tilted words right there. He had QSS, thought he was fine. He definitely was not. The problem is that you look at the enemy teams that with my QSS I'll be fine. You forget the Infinity Edge and all the other items that are complete, and your paper-thin health bar as a support goes straight into the dumpster. So for that reason, DAMWON again can push up, they clear out that vision, and they can rinse and repeat, make that play time and time again.
That's why I love that Skarner last pick has just got immense value for DAMWON so far. I mean, nearly every play in the bottom side, in the top side, even in that play, it was really just the Skarner securing it, and you know that OnFlake is desperately wanting to go on in there.
He really wants to check this brush.
Don't do it! Oh, I'm too late. The knockup comes in, the Shen does not matter. As he disappears, will Joker get caught as well? Just looking for the Predator to come in. It looks like Joker, no luck for him, as they have the damage to clean up. Cinder with the double kill. Soar in the back line. Do they have enough burst damage on the backside here? Nuclear gets low, but actually the Zaya disappears on the backside. Dove is going to get the shutdown, but this is looking like an ace as BattleComics baited themselves into it. 4 members alive, and DAMWON Gaming, they're on that road to LCK.
Fighting when the enemy is at their strongest. That's not the sign of an LCK team. DAMWON back away. They're going to get the Baron. They even have the win wall to guarantee that health bars are never going to be an issue. The scat of the week from Syndra was the fight winner, or the fight guarantee at the end. We'll get it in the replay and show you guys, but this will definitely be Baron. And this seems like the sort of lead that BattleComics comp will never scale into late game early enough to close out.
I feel like all of our hopes and dreams from BattleComics in Game 1 are not aging very well now.
OnFlake waited a good 15 seconds, but his doom seemed inevitable. Once again, dies before he can use his Counter-Strike. They're chasing for further kills. They're so powerful at this point. I want you to watch what happens when Azir tries to roll into the fight. Dove thinks he's going to recreate some of his big engages, but watch this. Dove comes in and Scatter the Weak stuns him from the Syndra. That's the play a lot of people would have missed. I caught it and said, well, that's what being owned looks like. Really nice moment coming through from the Syndra. She goes down, but not in vain.
Those are plays that get you to, you know, number 2 on the ladder, number 6. I forget which one Showmaker was.
6.
But you, okay. I mean, you got to carry by yourself in solo queue, and you'll see little things like this, just mechanically amazing plays in the competitive scene as well. Even if they make mistakes here and there and they're not an incredibly polished team, you can tell that their team, as just individual players, is very mechanically skilled.
So if you've bought into BTC, and I know a lot of people have, especially after game 1, you were getting on the hype train, buy those BTCs as much as possible.
Yeah.
I feel like the market might be going the opposite direction. I think maybe it's time, for today at least, to sell on BTC.
I mean, this was just an obvious bubble. Everybody thought it was going to the moon, but honestly, it was just the hype, right? You got to wait. You got to be patient when you get into investing in one kind of coin or team, and this is what's going to happen. See you later, BattleComics says. Well, the rest of you are going to go down. A double kill goes to Showmaker as he's making the show tonight once again.
This bubble has crashed. BTC can't fall much further, at least for today. Maybe the market will look better in a couple of days, but it seems like they're going to have a lot of time to think about things as they're just trying to rampage to the base at DAMWON Gaming.
The Poppy not feeling too good. It's going to knock out 3 range minions as the next wave is going to be pushing in. They just look pretty demolished at this point. Very one-sided. Even though it's not that big of a gold lead, just feels this way. Another Scatter the Weak to end Azir's game.
Well, it seems like Showmaker's doing a great rookie impression with these blind pick Syndras. Certainly making it work. Soar is up top side. Name feels a bit ironic right now. Another full court press for the side of DAMWON Gaming.
You know, when we look at the, you know, OPGG, you go onto the website, you take a look at the top 10, and you see some names that aren't very familiar. You'll see Showtime, and you're like, well, what team is this guy on? Oh, he's on DAMWON, and he can do things like this alongside Hoyt, by the way, who is absolutely insane on Rakan and Alistair, based on what I've seen so far. Hoyt saying, move aside. I'm also going to carry my team. Stop talking about Showmaker. Let me remind you why I'm awesome.
Even Punch has had a great game on the Skarners, so we got a lot of nice things to say about a lot of people on this team. In fact, the only person on DAMWON who has had a pretty poor tournament has been their top laner, Nogari, who had so many rumors and innuendo about him going to a top team as early as after spring season, and he's, of course, the highest up in Challenger. Clearly, he's happy to play the carries. He's not a tank-only player, so there's something about him, but when it comes to actually paying off all the high expectations, feels like everyone else put together a better case than Nogari.
I'd have to agree, right? I mean, we only saw him in 1 best-of-3 and 1 best-of-5, but he hasn't really impressed. Maybe with some more time to get polished and ready for the LCK, because, I mean, it seems like DAMWON is just going to roll over BattleComics here in this last game. Would like to see him once they do get into the regular season, how he does play. Don't want to judge him too much off of this, but it is a fair point that he hasn't been the one to live up to his hype.
If we hype someone and they don't perform, you have to at least put out the question. I agree. I think in 18 best-of-3s, he'll play himself into this higher level of competition, but hasn't needed to flex his muscles, got big CS leads in matchups he should. It's not like he's losing the lane. Against the Poppy as Jace, DAMWON Gaming. Feels like they can already start celebrating. Never want to spend it before you've earned it, but good job so far, guys. You basically just got the money in the check in the mail and waiting for it to be cashed.
They were the ones that were shorting Bitcoin at the high. That's definitely what you wanted to do, as they seem to be one step ahead of this market. Definitely making it look really easy and dominant in game number 4 here, which could be their 3rd win in the best-of-5. Hoyt, man, I've never really been just not expecting anything out of someone into just, holy crap, this guy has blown my mind in 1 or 2 series in quite a while, and well, Hoyt's definitely doing that for me.
I think support talent's one of the area where the LCK does fall on kind of older names, so I'm happy to see Hens come in, and now it feels like Hoyt's having a great performance as well. Seeing Soar rush in, but, right now, doesn't really have the health bar, even in the Jace matchup, to do things No inhibitors are down, so while it's a huge gold lead, that hasn't turned into kind of breaking the base like you might expect.
We've seen what this combination did in game number 2. Actually, the first one that DAMWON did win today, it was just the Jace, Syndra, Yasuo, that amount of poke damage, and engage if they ever need it. Can get out of hand, but they'd rather just wait back for the second Baron and push in off of that. They're already really far ahead, 9,000 gold at about 30 minutes here. And actually a Maji's purchase by Showmaker. That's the kind of guy that I like to see here, making it into LCK.
He's definitely a big fan of the Magi's. Did it on his Katarina game in Challenger as well. They know that they have basically an unassailable lead. You never want to say unassailable, and Azir Xayah, a very formidable late game. But the sort of terrain where Dove and Hollow are free hitting and everyone else is being a front line, it just doesn't feel real, right? I don't really know what that fight looks like without a really, really over-aggressive play coming through from DAMWON, but given the Jace comp hasn't broken the base, 1, 2 teamfight mistakes, and maybe, just maybe, Team BattleComics can turn this one around.
It's going to take a lot of fights, right? It's not just going to be that one moment where they get it. Maybe if it's right before the Baron, into a Drake or something like that, but next one's going to be Ocean. The chances that someone gets caught. I mean, even if the Syndra dies immediately, you have a 5-0-7, 3.5 item Yasuo at 30 minutes with multiple ways to get knockups and engage potential. So you've got to shut down 2 big carries, and the rest of the team is doing their jobs as well.
Showmaker actually found a budget DFG in some ways with the 100 stacks onto the Spellbinder. That means more likely to be in range for the stun, and certainly nice extra bit of AP as well. So kind of a cool choice. Not the sort of champion you usually think would pick up the Spellbinder.
I'm just excited for the next engage. I want to see what Hoyt can do on the Rakan and how many people Showmaker can blow up. But speaking of which, actually, Scout of the Week keeps him alive for now, but how about a Shannon to the backside? There is the stopwatch to keep him alive, but the follow-up damage isn't enough. No, he kills him in mid-leap somehow and survives on the backside. The rest of DAMWON Gaming gonna get in position as well. Nuclear diving down here. It's gonna stopwatch just for showmanship at the backside. Hollow can't even get close to this team right now. Pulls back the feathers, but he's the only one left standing.
It's a 4-for-0. It's nobody dead at this point. DAMWON Gaming racing through. Here we go.
Nice dodge on the knockup, but it's not going to be enough as Noguri picks up the ace.
No one could have known that would be a 5-for-0 for DAMWON Gaming. You were waiting for it. You didn't even know what you're going to get. Christmas come early for Valdez and DAMWON Gaming. They will be promoted to LCK Spring 2019 today.
Wow, and what a story on the back of it here. We weren't sure after game number 1, but then they decided, hey, let's show them what we're truly made of. They go with 3 aggressive, in-your-face compositions, and they slaughter BattleComics here in this best-of-5. It was not close at the end, and I am super excited to see what this team can do in LCK next year.
And most LCK fans won't know that the little brother to Griffin in spring season was DAMWON Gaming. They weren't 14-0, but they were 11-3, only lost to 1 team that wasn't Griffin in that spring season, but they hit the playoffs, they lost out, they made a roster change. Veritas and AD Carry had been over in Europe, and Oceania was out. Another EU guest in terms of Nuclear returned from H2K, returned from a bit of a sojourn away from competitive play, slid in, and we do not see them fall away before the promotion tournament in their first attempt. You see Noguri's brother is cheering, cousin we should say, is cheering. Thank you, producer, for that confirmation, because they're finally making it into the LCK at the second time of asking, and sticking together as a squad has worked out.
Now BattleComics here, definitely disappointed after getting slaughtered in this best-of-5, but they still have an opportunity. They looked really good in their matchup up against MVP. And, I mean, I want to see if they can do it again, because although, well,
watching
I
Nuclear
kind of lost
here.
my train of thought, as we are going to have an interview here with one of the players.
We've got the 8 teams that have already been promoted. I think we have to add 1 logo to the 8 teams. SKT, Afrika, Kingzone, KT, Jinair, Hanwha, Griffin, and Genji will be in LCK 2019. Here's another team to join them.
Put it up right next to KT Roaster.
Yeah.
There you go. You're going to be second place right behind KT next season, too. We'll see what happens, DAMWON. We'll see how far you go in this one, but you have at least made it to LCK. the light goes green as it's go, 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 and only one spot remains.
And you know it's the winds of change. We knew that with Griffin, but MVP, BBQ, they're stuck. They have to play a best of 5 tomorrow just for a chance to make it to face BattleComics on the final day. Like you mentioned, BattleComics, by the end, really did roll over a little bit in the final game. So if you're MVP and BBQ, obviously you can only win the best of 5 in front of you, but you definitely have some confidence that if you can actually triumphantly beat your opponent tomorrow, maybe there's more than a little chance when you reach that final best of 5.
We've been talking about the stars of DAMWON Gaming, but how about Punch in this series? Gets the gank on the bottom side, the perfect angle on the Skarner, looks really comfortable on the pick too. It's just that last piece of the puzzle that you didn't really expect. He wasn't the name we were talking about, but hey, did his job, especially in the early to mid game on the Skarner.
By the end, DAMWON Gaming were just waiting, looking for someone away from the base to engage a fight. It ended up being a nice outplay by Showmaker, who lived on a sliver of health. That's what happens when you win the early game hard enough. You got more base stats, you got more AP than you could ever have imagined. That was the first super play by Showmaker to interrupt the Azir Sec play. It's coming in no stream a shuffle today for Dove in this game number 4. And then we had a couple of highlight plays in a row that show you that DAMWON Gaming don't look like a team to come into LCK and go 2-16 like our 10th place teams traditionally do. These guys have come to play.
I mean, it's a problem when you go up against DAMWON, even down, I mean, they were so ahead in this fight, but Showmaker lives. He kills him with the last Q, I guess, as the Jax is jumping, just makes him look silly. But it's a problem. What are you going to ban against this team? Because I feel like Rakan and Alistair, if you're not at least taking away or banning those, Hoyt's going to make your life a living hell. You got a relatively wide champion pool for Showmaker and Noguri, I would say, in the mid and top lane, not to mention everything else.
Feels like the sort of team, though, that if the jungler falls behind, the laners will spill over into that, and I feel like targeting Punch is probably the way to go. I think we know his ceiling. He will always be a mid-tier jungler in the LCK at best, so blowing them out through the jungle really does seem to be the one weakness, at least from what we've seen so far.
Crazy damage out of the Jace. I wouldn't say he was the MVP of this one, though, as it was really just the Punch, Showmaker, Hoyt, and Nuclear show in this one. Weird to give it to 4 different members, but no MVPs here, just an interview. So we're going to hand it over to Ji-Sun to help out with the translation.
Thank you very much. This is Ji-Sun with your interview translation, and today we're going to be joined by Showmaker and Hoyt for today's interview. Congratulations. You guys said you're not nervous at all, but you look a lot bit staged, a little bit like frozen. How do you feel? What goes through your head right now? To start off, we have been really putting all efforts, but after the failure in the spring split, we were really so eager to find out this victory. We finally made our dreams come true, so I think we finally picked up this such a great result. I'm feeling really happy. I think you didn't shave today. I woke up too late today, so I'm being just natural with my shapes. Well, during the last series, I was kind of disappointed by myself. But today, I think my performance was really great. Well, Katarina, game 3. Well, for me, I didn't have it in my mind actually. I was thinking of other champions to play, but Hoyt said, well, I think it's time for Katarina. So we were like, oh yeah, let's just lock in. So it was your teammates who had faith in your Katarina. How was her performance today? It was okay. Then let's move on to Hoyt. You are god it right now. The god of initiation. How do you feel right now? I have been in this team for 2 years, and I was really putting all my efforts for this moment. I feel really happy. My performance overall, I'm super satisfied.
안쓰러우면 정말 말도 안 되는 얘기한 거예요. 지금 경기 자체가 거의 뭐 호이도
I think you were just dominating all the team fights on your own. I think today it was definitely a support carry.
너무 기가 막힌 장면이 많았는데 사실 그 SK
Their
내에서도
performance on Rakan was just amazing and insane.
나도 할 수 있는데 이런 생각했을 것 같은데 어때요?
저도 나름 라칸 장인이라.
Well, I'm a Rakan master, so I always think that I am the best player of Rakan among all the other LCK support players. So I think it's time to show what I got.
그 중에서도 이 선수는 그래도 나랑 붙이면
Well,
굉장히
whose
재밌는
Rakan
대결이
is
되겠는데
the strongest
이
except
선수의
you?
혹시 누가 있을까요?
개인적으로 투신.
I think Tusin, he's the best Rakan player in LCK.
맞아요. 그래서 투신과 더불어서 본인도 라칸의 힘을 한번 보여주겠다.
네, 한번 보여드리겠습니다.
Well, it's time for me to show Tusin how to play Rakan.
굉장히 좋죠. 일단은 뭐 팀원들도 오늘 전반적으로 굉장히 잘했잖아요.
I think
오늘 또 누가
all
잘한 것
five
같아요?
players were doing so well.
일단 저희 원대 뉴클리어 형이.
I think Nuclear, our AD carry, he was the best player,
멋있었어요.
especially his Kaisa.
4킬로 마무리했었거든요.
네네네.
He picked up 14 kills in the end.
웃지 말고 일로 와요. 그럼 일로 와요 일단. 일단 오셔가지고.
Then let's
얘기 좀
bring him
나누도록
up to the
하겠습니다.
stage.
네, 전해줄까요? 소개 먼저 부탁드리겠습니다.
네, 안녕하세요. 담원 원딜 맡고 있는
Hi, this is
뉴클리어라고
DAMWON's AD carry, Nuclear.
네. 사실 그 외모가 잘생겨서 어디서 본 것 같은 게 아니라 우리가 이제 어느 정도
Well, there are a lot of LCK fans who are familiar with you.
사실 2016년도에 LCK 올라갔을 때는 좀
Well,
감정이 많이
when I was
벅차올라서
in
막
LCK in
울기까지
2016, I was so happy, I was crying, but right now I just feel it's just natural. We have to be at LCK.
근데 사실
We got a long journey to go.
말씀하신 것처럼 그리핀이 먼저 간 그리핀이 갑자기
Griffin, they made it to LCK one season earlier than you guys. How do you guys feel?
그거 지켜보면서 여러 가지 생각도
You guys might be a little bit jealous.
제가 챌린저스 있을 때 저랑 이제
Well, during the Challenges
그리핀이랑
League,
경기를 한 적은 없었기 때문에
네.
I actually haven't
LCK
faced
올라가서
Griffin
또
by
경기
myself,
해보면은 되게 재밌을 것 같아요.
so I'm really looking forward to facing them in LCK.
비엔즈 얘기가 나오면서 호이 또 은근히 여러 가지 느낌이 좀 들었을 것 같은데.
And a lot of people
어때요?
have
두
been
선수의
comparing
서포터
Hoyt and
분위기가?
Lehans.
일단 둘 다 되게
Both of
약간
them are
막 나가는 서포터?
very
둘 다?
aggressive, you know.
막 나간다. 네.
약간 둘 다 어린 친구들이기 때문에
They're really young.
둘 다 재능 있고 이제
And they got talent.
좀 말 안 듣는 서포터.
But they kind of don't listen to me. They both don't.
좀더 맞는 것 같아요?
Who's a better support for you?
이런 마음이 좀 서운할 수도 있긴 한데
Well, I'm
지금은 이제
feeling a little bit sorry, but Hoyt is my best support by until now.
그만큼 호이 씨 굉장히 잘해주고 있고 왜 고개 갸웃됐어요? 왜 갸웃됐어요?
You disagree?
지금은 잘 맞는다는 게 살짝
Well,
불편해가지고.
아,
for
원래는
now,
더 계속 잘 맞았는데.
I disagree with that. We used to be a good duo throughout the split.
보니까 지금도 오늘도 굉장히 잘했으니까. 리엔즈 만나면 어떨 것 같아요? 약간 기분이 좀.
Are you looking forward to a matchup against Lehans?
누굴
I'm gonna make sure to take him down.
기대해 보도록 하겠습니다. 뉴클리어 선수 같은 경우는 오늘 사실상 그냥 숫자 자체가 말도 안 됐어요.
Nuclear, your score was amazing with Kaisa and all the other AD carries. Yasuo,
기가 막히게 먹더라고요. 그럼 뭐
you always pick up the kills so well.
이제 항상 게임을 하다 보면은
네.
팀원들
During the games,
얘기를 많이 하는데
we have a lot of
제가
communications.
캐리할 수 있는 챔프를 했을 때 킬을 많이 먹으면은
If I
제가 항상
play
얘기하거든요.
hyper
알파
carry
절대 못
champions,
쓴다고.
I always pick up a lot of
그런
kills that
부분을
kind
잘
of make us win the
킬도
game
많이
for
주는 것
sure.
같아요.
그러면 그 장면 조금 더 우리가 감미롭게 느껴볼까요?
And let's go through a replay.
여기서 먹었던 것 중에서 뭐가 가장 좋았어요?
What was the favorite kill here? The
가장-
quadra kill.
그래서 이게 꿀맛이거든요. 이 맛이 아주 입에 착착 감기잖아요. 요때는 뭐 주로 어떤 선수가 꿀을
What was going on over here? Whose call was the main shot call?
한타하자는 콜을 했던 것 같은데
I think someone just said let's open team fight over here.
앞에서 어그로를 잘 끌어줘가지고 뒤에서
All the other front line was playing aggro, so I was just doing my role as an AD carry. The result was quadra kill.
젠지 선수들이 도움을 좀 많이 줬다는 얘기 들었어요.
And I heard that
네네.
Genji really helped
어땠어요?
Damwon a
어떤
lot
부분을 좀 들어준 것
in
같아요?
preparing this promotion.
젠지 바텀이랑 이제 스크린 말고 또 따로 2대2 구도를
Besides
많이
the
했었는데
practice games, we
2대2 구도하면
we
약간
prepared a
실력도
lot
좀
of
향상된 것
2v2
같고
네.
laning
약간
phase
상대방도
practices
몰랐던
with the
것도
Genji
조금 더
bot
알게
duo.
되고 그런 면이 있어서
We learned a lot from them.
젠지랑 또 약간 연습도 많이 했거든요.
We had a lot of practice games together as well, so I really want to say thank you for Genji players.
사실은 고마운 거고 이제 경쟁해야 되잖아요.
But now you guys have to
네, 그쵸.
face them at LCK. Is there any last message for them?
아무래도 저희가 지금 기세가 좀 많이 매섰기 때문에
Well, we're in a super good flow,
긴장을 좀 많이
so
하셔야
I
될 것
hope they
같습니다.
don't put their guards down.
여기까지 한번 전해드려봤습니다. 자, 이어서 또 반가운 얼굴이 옆에 또 기다리고 있어요. 이 선수도 우리가 기다리고 있습니다.
We have
펀치,
another player to
펀치.
bring up
우리
here.
펀치 한번
It's
만나보겠습니다.
Punch.
마이크 좀 부탁드릴게요. 먼저 정말 오랜만입니다.
Long time no see.
네, 인사 좀 부탁드릴게요. 저뿐만 아니라 많은 LCK
Could you say
팬들이
hi
기다리고
to all
있을
the
것 같아요.
LCK fans out here?
네.
네, 안녕하세요. 작년에 이제 콩두
Hi, I
몬스터에서
was
정글러를 맡고 있었던
The Kongdu's
펀치라고
Jungle
하고요.
Punch.
이번에 새로
This year,
SK 합류하게 됐습니다.
I'm now joining in LCK as a DAMWON
참
jungle.
느낌이 묘했던 게 지금 뭐 우리 콩두의 인연이 한 명 더 저쪽에 앉아 있잖아요.
Well, you
그
know,
사우드장.
네.
your head
사우드장
coach
저기.
네, 네,
네.
네.
from Kongdu is now a caster for LCK. Do you know that?
좀 가볍게 그냥 잘 하라고.
Before games, we just said hi and he wished
네.
me good luck.
근데 본인 얘기로는 그 지금 펀치의 리신을 본인이 키웠다고
Well,
그러던데요.
MC that said that
그런가요?
he is the reason why Punch is playing Lee Sin so
그런
well.
것 같아요.
왜 갑자기?
I guess so.
보니까 그런 것 같아요.
어떤 부분이요? 스킨 얘기했다는데?
Well, did he give you any advice?
게임 쪽으로 많이 알려주셔가지고
스킨 얘기했다니까요. 아까는.
He said about the
스킨
스킨
skin.
얘기밖에 안 했다는데요? 거짓말 하니까 힘들죠?
기억력이 좀 안 좋아.
I actually don't remember. Sorry, head coach.
그러니까 사운드장이 본인이 펀치 리신 펀치
He
리신은
mentioned that he gave you some kind of help for you.
한 명이 누구예요, 그럼?
하면 피넛.
Well, he said you and Peanut are the two biggest leasing player in LCK.
그게 아니라
네.
약간 부담스러워가지고.
그렇죠.
Well, he's adding more pressure on me.
전 감독님 그러시면 안 되는데.
Please don't you do that to me. Please don't.
그래도 아무튼 작년에 제가 많이
Last
발전할 수
year,
있게
네.
도움을 주신
He really helped me a
분이거든요.
lot to improve.
이번에 이렇게 또 새로
I'm really happy to see him again this
네.
time.
되게 좋았고 내년에도 볼 수
And
있었으면
I hope him
좋겠어요.
good luck for next year.
같이.
그거는 어떻게 좀 빡빡하긴 한데 네 알겠습니다. 어떤 말인지는 충분히 알겠습니다. 내년에
Okay.
만나면 되니까. 내년에
I
만나면
hope
되니까.
you guys can see again each other next year.
팬 여러분들이 계십니다. 특히나
And you know you have a lot of SK fans that have been waiting for you to come back.
재미난 장면들을 많이 만들었던 장면들 기억하시는 분들이 계실 텐데.
So is there any message you would like to say to your fans?
제가 뭐 SK 작년 한번 뛰었는데
Well, I was in
되게 좋지
LCK
않았거든요.
last year, but I was underperforming, and no one was really hyped about me. So
열심히 해가지고
I was
이제
preparing
우승하고
so hard
바꿔보도록
for this
하겠습니다.
promotion. So
좋을 것 같아요.
I'm gonna be showing great performance to the LCK fans this time around.
이 선수 빼놓을 수 없습니다. 정말 등장 전부터 굉장히 많은
Lastly,
화제를 모았었던 이 선수가
one of the most
올라온다면
hyped
어떨까 이런 얘기했던
player
영국부터 거룩한
of
구리
DAMWON.
너구리 선수를 한번 모셔보도록 하겠습니다.
Let's bring Noguri to the stage.
우리 옆으로 조금만 가까이 우리 좀만. 네. 반갑습니다. 인터뷰 한번 했지만 다시 한번 모르시는 분들을 위해서
Good to
인사
see you
한번
again here.
네, 안녕하세요. 담원 탑
Hi,
맡고
this is
있는
Noguri,
장학원입니다.
DAMWON's top laner.
반갑습니다. 워낙 경기력에 대해서 소문이 무성했어요. 너구리
Well,
굉장하다.
a lot of
그리고
fans were
약간 뭐
paying
탑이 무너지는
high
SK 팀들이 있다면
expectations on you.
너구리를 데리고 와야 된다. 이런 얘기들이 굉장히 많았었어요. 오늘 어땠어요? 경기 좀
How do you
만족스럽나요?
feel?
개인적으로는 이제 좀
For myself,
제 플레이를 많이는 못 보여드린
I
것 같아서
kind of
좀
underperformed,
만족스럽진
so
않고요.
I'm not satisfied at all.
팀적으로 또 이제 근데
But as a
잘
team
이렇게
game, I think we
이겨가지고.
did really well.
그건
So
팀적으로는
yeah, I'm
기분이
happy
좋은데
about
개인적으로는
as a
좀
team,
아쉬운-
but
아쉬운-
as a solo
아쉬운 게 있는
player,
것
I am a little bit feeling bad.
지금 사촌 동생이 와가지고
You got a very supportive cousin out here.
어떻게 사촌 동생 보는 앞에서 좀 그래도 좀 보여준 것 같아요. 승격했잖아요 지금.
You made it to LCK in front of him. In front of him.
네.
좀 더 이제 멋있게
Well, I wanted
싸우는
to show him
모습을
better
많이 못
performance,
보여준 것
but
같아서
so I'm a little bit
아쉬워요,
disappointed.
좀 아쉬워요.
근데 사촌 동생은 잘 봤을 것 같은데.
I
그죠?
think your cousin enjoyed the show a lot.
일로 와봐요. 잠깐만 와봐요.
귀엽다.
좀 와봐요. 네, 우리.
Come up to the stage.
괜찮아.
It's okay.
누군지 먼저 자기 소개해 줄 수 있어요?
What's your name?
그냥 소개. 몇 학년 몇 반?
How old are you?
1번이요.
I'm
이름이
third
뭐예요?
grade.
영승민.
My name is Seungmin Yum.
우리 승민 친구 이제 사촌형이잖아. 사촌형 우리 너구리 선수가.
너구리.
오늘 이거 언제
How
만든
was
거예요?
his
언제 만든 거예요?
performance today? When did you make that?
오기 전에
Before I came
혼자
here
만들었어요?
아니요. 엄마
with my mom.
어머랑 같이 만들어줬어요? 만들면서 이제 뭐 어떻게 보여주려고 했어요?
그냥 들고 엄마가 그냥 흔들면서 있어요.
My mom said just hold it and just shake it in front of him.
아 그랬구나. 그래도 오늘 사촌형이 활약 잘한 거 보니까 기분
Do you
좋았죠?
think Noguri did well today?
네.
Yes,
기분
I'm
좋았죠?
happy.
사촌 형이 지금 LCK 딱 올라가게 됐어요.
Well, your
LCK가
cousin is now in LCK. Do you know what that is?
핵심을 딱
Yeah, it's the
얘기하잖아.
biggest league in Korea.
일부 리그 딱 올라가서 일부 리그 많은 팀들도 지금 막 너구리 막 올라가면 너구리 대박 막 이러고 있어 사촌 형한테.
Everyone is so hyped
어때,
about
사촌
your
형이 잘할 수 있을 것
cousin.
같아요?
Do you think he will do well in LCK?
모르겠어요.
I don't know.
잘 모르겠어요. 맞아요. 우리가 한시 앞을 모르는데 어떻게 하겠습니까?
Yeah, you
오늘
never know
사촌 형
about the
잘하라고
future.
파이팅 한번
So
해줄래요?
is there any
사촌
last
형
message
파이팅?
for your cousin?
너구리 파이팅. 너구리 한번 파이팅 해줘요.
Any message
너구리.
for him?
파이팅.
Let's go, 너구리.
고마워요. 어려운데 진짜
Thank you
고마워요.
for this
Thank
interview.
you. 사촌 동생 이제 응원해줬으니까 이제 힘이 좀 나죠?
So you're powered up, right?
힘이 나네요.
힘이 나죠, 힘이 나죠.
I'm feeling really
그래서
good.
이제 5명의 선수가 올라가게 됐습니다. 오늘 사실상 담원 본인들 입장에서도 약간 아쉬운 부분이 없잖아 있을 거예요. 더 잘할 수 있을 텐데라고 생각한 부분이 있을
Damwon,
거고.
you guys made your way to LCK.
보여주면서 올라왔거든요. LCK 많은 팀들이 지금 기다리고 있습니다.
And a lot of teams are waiting up there at LCK.
뭐 낮게 보거나 그런 생각을 안 하고 지금 기다리고 있을 것 같거든요. LCK 기다리고 있는
Would you like to
팀들
send
한
any
말씀
other
부탁드리겠습니다.
players at LCK?
이번에 이제 LCK 가게 됐는데
We found our way to
LCK 도
LCK.
좀 좋은 멋있는 경기 했으면 좋겠습니다.
I want to
네,
show
알겠습니다.
great
우리
and
선수들 위해서
dominating
다섯 명의
performance at
담원 선수들
LCK.
모두 좋은 활약 보여주기를 한번 기대해 보도록 하겠습니다. 자 오늘 승자들을 통해서 지금 드디어
So after a long match at the winners matchup, Damwon is the one finding their spot at LCK, and I'm gonna pass it back to our caster to wrap up today's series. Thank you.
No, thank you, Ji-sun, for the wonderful translation. Must have been hard with 5 bajillion people up there on stage. The Suncase special, having even down to the cousin come in was really cute, especially when he said, "Oh, I don't know how nobody's gonna do."
Oh,
in
that was the
LCK."
cutest part for sure. He nailed every
see.
other part of the interview
Yeah.
and then couldn't give the rallying call, but could say the same thing about Team BattleComics, who nailed the first round, but now, DAMWON Gaming, first team to LCK 2019. Will it be a complete sea change? Well, we know one team will win tomorrow. There'll be MVP versus BBQ. It's an LCK best of 5, something a bit different as Sunke, our Korean caster, couldn't quite get there fast enough. We're
And
still-
Shen, Shen!
Shen's on the screen. Wait,
Get out of here, Shen!
how many Shens are around here? There's at least 2. But
We saw a lot today.
we did see
yeah.
quite a few Shens. We saw one team promote. It could still be BattleComics joining them. To me, I just need to see where MVP's at, because I gotta admit, I think they should come in big favorites. I would have said the same thing about them against BattleComics, and they just didn't show up. I mean, they loaded in, but that was about where it ended. MVP need to find some of that old flavor, because actually, if they lose, they're out. But they're on a 9 best-of-3 losing streak, so recently, they haven't had much to smile about.
Yeah, it's a weird thing where we consider the level of competition that the two teams were up against. Sure, BBQ had a hard time against DAMWON, but again, it's DAMWON who looked really dominant today, and BBQ was actually ahead in game number 1, so who really is the favorite in this losers match that we have? Is it MVP or BBQ? I'm kind of leaning towards BBQ, but then you look at BBQ and you say, even if they get ahead, they don't know how to end the game with Baron, with kills. It's kind of frustrating. So I'm really interested to see which one of these teams is going to prove to us tomorrow that they deserve to hold a spot, because honestly, after Tuesday, neither team did.
The good news is, though, that game 1 of the best of 5 should answer a question straight up. Does MVP show up? Yes, no? We'll know that by the end of game number 1. Can BBQ close a game? One of those two things has to happen, and thus we will learn something, because I agree. BBQ had a good early game, couldn't close. It was a 2-0. MVP just didn't have a good game at all, couldn't close because they were behind and lost very quickly 2-0. So one of those stories will have a counterpoint in game number 1, and I'm just going to be kind of like the fights in the super exciting game 3. I think whichever one fires first is probably going to win. Now, what does that mean about the BattleComics series? After game 1, it was looking pretty ominous. I don't know if either MVP or BBQ can recreate the strategy DAMWON Gaming used, because they just kind of took it to the bare essences and say, let's flex on them with solo queue stuff and put that together into 3 strong performances. MVP at their best, they can do that. MVP at their best, haven't seen them in a while.
One team's got to prove it and give us a chance here going into Saturday. Tomorrow we will have that matchup of MVP versus BBQ. Make sure to join us same time, same place. Thanks for watching today, and we'll see you then.
I see you